Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Welcome to the triumphant return of Bombcast Revengeance, powered by NZXT. I'm your host, Jan Shoa. Joining me, co-captain, the arbiter of the weekend, Jeff Grubb.
Howdy, 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 howdy.
They are a giant trash can, but they're filled with nothing but vibes and love. Nikki Grayson.
I can't wait to talk about Concord!
And playing support, playing backup, all the abilities look the same because this game is slightly buggy. Sean McDowell.
Audio listeners, Nikki was just vibrating out of their chair, and I was just losing it.
I'm putting the word out there. I think we should get different music for Bombcast Revengeance as far as like the genre. I don't know. What should we aim
Gamer.
for? Okay.
Yeah, more beeps and boops.
More beeps and boops. I've really been on a big yacht rock bossa nova train.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome aboard.
Great. I love that.
Absolutely.
So, you are a bossa nova boy out there. Yeah, let's sail away with the Bombcast Revengeance theme.
What is Michael McDonald doing right now?
Nothing.
Singing.
Someone playing.
I'm playing Spider-Man. I'm playing Spider-Man 2 now because I would like to play a video game.
Okay, that's cool.
My palette.
I love that we all pause and like, wait, was something?
Yeah, different game for the Xbox.
I didn't think I was going to be called out by the fucking speaker in the controller for playing a different, better game, but here we are.
Folks, today we, if you missed UPF.
Shut up!
Okay, all right, that's it for the show. I've been good. Anyway,
they're trying to hear their controller.
If you missed UPF, we, being the four of us, checked out, along with our dear friend Christian from Argentina, played the beta for Concord, and we're going to give our quick impressions of them, of Concord, not Christian from Argentina.
No, he doesn't want that. Yeah,
I would say very pleasant.
Yes.
Folks, we played a couple rounds and then we played we dominated that last mode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We all finished the last round as well. All of us.
Yep. I was so confident I just stopped controlling my character.
Yes, Nikki, you were playing on the PS5 and then I believe the rest of us were playing via Steam. Yes. Grubb and Sean, y'all were having a little bit of technical trouble, correct?
Yeah.
Little is understatement.
There was a variety of issues. My performance felt a little off, so I turned down the internal resolution, actually, to make sure it would run at a higher frame rate, kind of consistently. That worked. The frame rate. Hang on 1 second, kiddo. Sean, you take over while I talk to this kid.
Okay, yeah. So the PC version maybe not a great PC port. Maybe this was a PS5 first game that later on got a PC version once they decided to expand it. Smart thing to do. But this was a weird thing where Jeff was having all the like performance issues and stuff. I was having the opposite thing where it was running all right for me, but for the first time in a while, it's a PC port where I wasn't having performance issues, but I was just having bugs. Like I was just having a lot of random.
I had those too.
Yeah, UI. Well, you had a big one, which I'll let you talk about in a sec. But I was getting a lot of UI issues and stuff. As we've discussed on some show recently, I do just have like a one decently sized monitor. And so I just put everything in a window on the monitor. That works fine for me. If you put this game in a window on PC, the UI just gets cut off.
Huh.
The UI does not scale.
UI doesn't scale. Okay.
So I just couldn't see some things sometimes.
Now, do you want to see all of the UI?
Yeah, I do kind of want to see the 2 or 4 characters on the end there, on the character select and everything. That kind of
That is indicative to me of what is going on with the PC port, at least. It's the PC port feels like it's coming in hot, underbaked.
It's whack.
Controls did just stop working for me in that last match. I think mouse and keyboard on PC did not feel right at all. I could not dial that in. I tried a bunch of different sensitivities. Switching to controller, when I would hit the B button, that would also activate the start button. And I'm pretty certain, because that's not happening in any other game I'm playing.
That's
the game issue.
That's the game.
So it was just clear,
you're you're using an 8-bit controller, but there's an X input controller. It
Yeah.
should be working
Yeah, it should
identically
just
to an
work.
Xbox controller.
Yeah, so right.
which
I always have it set to X input.
Yeah, I was using an Xbox controller, and that was just working fine. But then sometimes some buttons would not work as well. Like the I eventually found the I was complaining about this while we were playing, but not being able to see what your character does in the middle of a match. It's a new game. I need reminders of what my character does here and there in a hero shooter, especially if you're bouncing around. And so I found the button. Oh, you press left in the D-pad, or you hold left on the D-pad. That, I believe, is supposed to show you what your character does. This wasn't working. I think that was the binding because a sound effect was going off, but nothing was showing on screen.
Let me tell you all this. All of this stuff, not an issue on the PlayStation 5.
I did go play a couple matches on PlayStation 5.
Counterpoint, the game didn't feel good. So it was kind of like the technical issues didn't exist, but the part where you played the video game, I didn't have a very good time.
It did feel better than the PC version to me, though. So
I also had some UI bugs when I played on PS5 as well. It was better. It was a lot better. I can clearly tell that's the intended version of the game, but yeah, there was still some small bugs there too.
I wonder why I lucked out, because I had that UI bug, Sean, that you had where the abilities were repeating for each character when I pulled them up, but like that whole 2-hour stream we did, for the most part, completely fine, other than the game itself feeling slow.
Yeah,
right.
Just inputs felt sluggish for sure. And so I mean, for like, I don't think you're just saying that. When I play, so I have the mouse with the various sensitivity settings. If I hit this button over and over again, and I have one that's very low. If I were to say play a game like Counter-Strike or Valorant or a very twitchy shooter. So whenever I go to that lowest setting on there, it's like pretty low, but it's it still moves enough. So if I move my whole arm, which is kind of what I want, so I have those really fine, precise movements, I can kind of dial in the aiming. Here, with moving my whole arm on that lowest setting, it was moving a fraction of an inch, the reticle across the screen. So it's like something. It's just they are expecting a controller, I think, and not really understanding how mouse input might work. So I'm sure I can get in there and really finagle with the settings and get that stuff dialed in. But I think baseline, the way that it's working like right out of the box, just doesn't feel great. Now, again, felt better on PS5. As a 5-on-5 hero shooter with various modes, I don't think I hate this game, but I'm not inspired by what I played. I thought there were some characters that I was beginning to understand, and there was a couple moments where I'm like, okay, I'm playing as this character that charges in and stomps, and I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to tell you I'm going to go do that. Can you guys just clean up my mess when I make a mess? And we did that, and that was fun. And of course, it's great to synergize with your friends in an online video game. I just... I'm not like sitting around thinking, okay, now what if we did this and this and this? And I think part of that is when I look at the characters on the menu, I don't really get their whole thing. I know I can press triangle to like see their abilities, just like in any one of these games. But I kind of want to like look at a character and immediately understand what's going on with them, and I really don't here. So maybe I have to spend more time with it, but I don't want to.
Yeah, and I think something that was particularly tough is that the game because it doesn't tell you what the classes are, there's no impetus to work towards any sort of team composition.
Yeah,
right.
And then because there's no impetus to work towards team composition, it isn't like you understand where your team is going wrong, other than like if you're solo feeding, like sure, okay, that is fine, but like there were some fights where I was like, the only reason we lost is because the one character in this game that feels good, the fire person, just kind of killed 3 of us, and that's because she just seems like her ability set seems so uniquely tuned to you fire her blind. Which does a lot of damage because the health numbers in this game don't make any sense.
Yeah.
It just seems like there's no like in Overwatch you have like a shield pool, you have a health pool. And in this game, it's just one pool, and the scaling doesn't make any sense. The time to kill on the tanks is really low, and then the time to kill on everybody else feels really low also. But yeah, I don't know. There was not deep, and there was no like, none of it felt like it was in concert with each other.
Yeah.
It feels like a bunch of characters that exist.
Definitely. The balancing you're talking about, or the balancing with the character you're talking about, Nikki, specifically, like felt very off. Like I only played as her for that one round, and I shot someone in the face, and it did more than half of their life bar, which was insane. Meanwhile, the character is playing at as a lot near the second half of the stream. Roka, who is a rocket launcher character, shooting a rocket directly at someone's face, would do like 20, 40 damage.
The sniper character headshots would do like on average like 40 to 50 damage.
Yeah.
I'm selecting Teo a lot, and Teo is Soldier 76,
Yes.
Call of Duty character. That's what he's supposed to be.
Right.
And Paul Rudd. In Overwatch, you select Soldier 76. Like, I'm basically playing Call of Duty. Like this
Yes.
feels as good or nearly as good as Call of Duty, and I think Call of Duty feels very, very good. That's not happening here. This is a character that approximates that feeling, but does not really approach it in any real solid way, which is, I think, a little bit of a shame. The pedigree of this studio, Firewalk, is a lot of ex-Bungie people. And I don't know if I was coming away from any of the guns being like, well, that gunplay felt really great. I think it's solid and functional and serviceable, especially when I started playing on PS5.
You know, it's interesting you bring up the Bungie comparison, because there's parts of this that do feel a kind of floaty, like early Destiny, like in parts of Halo, where even though there is an aim down sights button, I never used it. You know, like I was always just like blind firing or firing straight off of the hip. How did the other abilities other than the shooting
I don't know
for
what
y'all?
they did most of the time. Like, unless it was super obvious, one of the characters built a wall.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that was clear and obvious.
What did the left bumper on the Farah character?
That's the blind that does like a third
Yeah.
of the health bar's worth of damage, and then they can't see the
Oh
right
wow!
bumper.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
The right bumper throws down a line, like a wall of fire.
Right.
It does damage on impact, and then there's a AoE on the ground, and then also she has a crossbow that fires these little golden snitches of fire, and then you hold. The game doesn't tell you this, I don't think. Well, maybe because I didn't read this. What the sweats? What was it called?
The sweatstrom, like
Sweatstrom.
spectrum,
Yeah, I
but
didn't
for
read-
sweat.
I
Are
didn't
you on
read
the?
full
I'm on the
Sweatstrom.
sweatstrom.
We're all on the sweatstrom, but I didn't read the full sweatstrom. But if you held aim down sights, it charged it to do more damage.
Oh, did not.
Which
notice
is
that.
why sometimes it would just pop 3 guys at the same time.
Got it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting to bring up the studio itself, because, man, if I didn't know the pedigree of the people working on this, like, to be harsh for a second, I would have thought this is like a team's first attempt at a shooter. Like,
Sure.
a lot of it feels very obligatory. Like when Jeff said that you have, what's his name, Teo or whatever. He feels like, oh, we need to have our Call of Duty-esque Soldier
Yes.
76 style character. And that just feels off to me, because so much that I think the word of the day for me is that's not intuitive. Like, how intuitive is everything here? And I just wasn't getting that feeling from so much of what we were doing. When it comes to characters, this is a hero shooter. You need to be able to look at the character and tell what they do. And
agree.
so you'll have, like, obviously we're going to keep comparing this to Overwatch. It's a hero shooter is what we're going to do.
And of
when
course,
you-
we've played, for 2 hours, right? So
Yeah.
Right.
we
Yeah,
just
these
started
are
our
initial
journey with this
impressions.
game.
Not
Right.
a review or anything
Yeah,
like that.
not a
Just
review.
initial impressions from playing a little bit. When you have like a character like Mercy in Overwatch, you look at her as like, oh, angelic healer, got it. Like stick with the angel.
Stick
she will
with
take
the
care of
angel. Yes, can
But
very
even-
clearly can fly.
Even
Wings, yeah.
characters who are a little more unique, like say Lucio, and it's like, well, what does a DJ do? Doesn't matter. Music themed character. Okay, sound, AoE, stick like near him and around him, and you may not necessarily tether to him like a Mercy. Reinhardt, big dude with a giant shield. What do
Yeah.
you do? Stand behind the shield and shoot out from behind
from
the
the
shield.
sh-
Something
from
you
behind the
cannot do
shield.
in this game.
with the
It
shield,
feels-
with the power, with the force shield in this game. Like the trash robot vacuum cleaner guy. So the idea was someone's shooting at you, and you use the vacuum cleaner to suck up those bullets, but they were still shooting me. Like basically, I think they were just shooting my ankles, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's like the Titanfall vortex shield.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like Vortex Shield.
So
yeah.
I don't think it has the same like visual,
No.
easy to understand what's going on that the Vortex shield in Titanfall 2 has, which is I immediately got that. Here I'm okay. I think I get it, but I'm going to go out here and I'm going to try to suck up the bullets from this guy that's trying to shoot me. And no, he knows what's happening, so he's just going to shoot my legs. And I died, and that sucked, for lack of a better word. And I kind of don't want to use this character anymore.
Well, I also noticed with that guy, his one of his abilities is to put a trap on the ground that covers you on the ground. So that's what the idea there is. You have your weapon covering you in front, and the gadget covering you on the ground. But that doesn't feel intuitive is, again, the problem. It didn't immediately click with me that that's why I need to be doing. I need to be setting up traps to defend us and then also consciously block the bullets in front of us. It just felt odd.
The other thing that felt very odd across the board, no matter what character I tried, was the dodge roll or dodge mechanic that was mapped to like circle. It just... I know that there was an ability for some of them, but it just didn't feel good or particularly useful.
And it is deeply unclear to what extent it's not consistent. What that button double press does is not consistent character to character. Some characters, it's like, oh, I will slightly move over a foot and a half. Some characters, it's like, oh, I will do a cartwheel to the side. Some characters, it turns you invisible when you do that side. The pink person, the pink person goes invisible when you do the double tap dodge. On the tanks, it feels like it does nothing.
Some of the tanks don't even have it.
Some of the tanks don't have it. And it's not particularly clear when and why.
Yeah, the DAW character, one of the healers.
One of the backups, which
is Tom Clancy's DAW. Yeah.
We're assuming backup still just means support vaguely, right?
Well, but
I thought it meant advanced character.
That's what I think. That's what
why would
it
be called backups if that's the case?
Jeff, I have no idea because there was no consistency to what the backups were.
I asked on Twitter. Let me see if anyone responded. You guys keep going.
But yeah, at first I thought like maybe backups is like support characters, but some of the other characters with like team healing abilities were not in that little pool. But like with digital audio windows,
I suppose he was the like main like healer centric character. But then you also have what's her face, the old lady who like puts up the wall and everything. Well, that's just an offensive character. Is it like? I don't know. Like maybe just right about that, but it's very unclear.
But with Dawes dodge, he like emitted like a little bit of a healing pulse.
Was it a pulse? I thought it was just a self heal.
It looked like it was a pulse because like there was an aura about him and not like the cool kind of aura.
This sucks. There's a company called Concord that does data backups, and that's not helping my Google searches.
Maybe not great CEO or SEO on this name.
Yeah, I feel bad because when I fired the game up, looked at the cutscene, I enjoy some of the character designs. I kind of got over that like cheesy Guardians of the Galaxy-ness that was presented in that trailer. Yeah. And then game feel bad.
Yeah, that's something that we're all kind of down on the game in general.
And it is a beta.
One thing that we can't say, looks good.
Looks great. Yeah.
Well, I mean, how over like taken out by the story are you all? Are you guys just into the
what's it for?
Yeah.
What's it for? It's like I would feel. It just seems like a multiplayer game. Remember when Titanfall 1 came out and there was no story, and the story was like built into you had to listen to the story through like the chirps in the multiplayer games. It feels like they course corrected to the opposite of that, where it's like, oh, there's a bunch of cutscenes, but there's no story in the rounds themselves.
Yeah. To me, it felt like another thing that is obligatory, where all these service games have these characters that you really love, and so they're putting out all these CGI cutscenes and like
they're charging $40 for this, so I think that's also why it's obligatory.
Right.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Well, we can talk about that in a second too, but like you look at another recent release with Zenless Zone Zero, story driven. It's a kind of an action RPG more than an action game, but with all those cutscenes, some people will absolutely skip through them. I think everyone here on the call with me does. But also, people like me who do want to like see these like well-designed characters doing their thing. The problem is with the multiplayer shooter, you need to have people fall in love with the characters organically and want to know more. Yes. You can't push the story on them to begin with. It feels like such a weird misunderstanding of what people want from a multiplayer shooter.
Right. The tone that the trailer dropped and how the beta kind of begins, it assumes a lot of the player that you already it assumes like that the player already has a level of familiarity with all of these characters and is fond of them, rather than like any type of like flashy introduction. And I mean like, or organically building up that relationship with the specific characters. Like TF2, I didn't quite care about any of the characters, but over time, lore is starting to drop. I start to build like an affinity towards specific characters, and then excitement builds of like, oh, I do want to know what the pyro is like. I do want to know what the spy is like.
Yeah.
And like the way that it kind of, for right now, it feels like we're being force fed of like, you love these guys. These characters are great. They're your best friends. It's like, I'm kind of cool.
Well,
Feels like they're coming on
frank,
too strong.
Yeah, you need the characters to also back that up, which I don't think the character designs are all that great. You know,
I think some of them are cool.
So some of them are
like
interesting.
separated
some are
from.
neat.
It doesn't. The thing that because we went through them at the beginning of UPF, which you can watch if you want to see the game get played, but like. It just doesn't seem like they are cohesive. Like it just seems like they came from different places. Like the task was make 20 guys, and then they made 20 guys, and then didn't check to see if the guys looked like each other.
Right. We have 20 different Guardians of the Galaxy, where that's a ragtag group of like just mishmash together. But the problem is in a hero shooter, it feels like you don't have consistency. Whereas again, Overwatch, like you look at Tracer is a cool character. You want to learn more about Tracer. You see like Widowmaker pop up in the initial reveal with her. You want to know what's the story going on here. Why do they hate each other? Because there's these two really cool looking characters going at it, just fighting it out. You start seeing like Soldier and Reaper popping up. It's like, you know what? Great character designs who have it's very clear what they are supposed to do. This just feels, I
think from like day one of this this game being revealed, or at least the trailer where we met and kind of saw the tone of how they're presenting it, Guardians of the Galaxy has been the constant comparison, right? Something looming in the horizons is Marvel Rivals, which is going to be a free-to-play game that's going to have the character recognition for sure of like people knowing like, oh, I know this Marvel character. I know Magneto. I know Spider-Man. And also with it being free to play, I do. Do you think that games like Marvel Rivals will kind of eat its lunch? Also, Grub, you played Star Wars Hunters.
Yeah. You know what? Roster pretty similar to Star Wars Hunters, for real.
No.
Well, okay. I think that like this is still in the top tier of like character designs for one of these kinds of games. It's not as good as Overwatch, but it's in that tier with Overwatch when you compare it to like, think of you guys remember that game Rogue Company? Like something like oh yeah, okay. Like you might remember if it had memorable characters, but go like look it up and look at its cast of characters, and it's like that's the kind of generic roster you can expect from a lot of these kinds of games.
Okay. What about Paladins?
Paladins, same company actually, yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, Hi-Res
There's
Studios.
a Hi-Res game?
Wow.
Rogue Company was?
Rogue Company was
had
Hi-Res,
one idea and said it's not even our idea.
Yeah, I'm not like trying to like stunt on Hi-Res or something like that, but like I think that these characters are good enough to the point where I really like some of these, and I think the comparison to Guardians of the Galaxy will wear off pretty fast. By the time I was like 3 matches in, I stopped thinking about that. Sure. Those initial like Pepsi challenge like reactions that people have fade really quick, and then the things that will like stand up to it's like, are the character synergies interesting? Do people even care about doing that in the first place? And that's where I'm like, I'm not sure if people are going to care about that. We certainly had moments, but it's like I was not feeling really compelled beyond I just don't want to die. So maybe we could do a little bit better, try some of this stuff. And then I just think that the story campaign stuff, I think people probably will stop paying attention to that pretty quickly. I do think that is an excuse to charge $40 for the game, and then once they get past that sort of initial phase, that'll take a back seat because no one's really going to be thinking about that for 98% of the time that they're inside of this game.
Right.
Maybe the cutscene plays the next time they start it up, but that's not really going to be what this thing thrives or dies on.
Yeah, firing up this game though, and knowing that it has a $40 price tag, my mind just shifts of I could be playing something else, and that something else is like it's not just bouncing back to a game like Overwatch. It's like, oh, there's
Helldivers 2 still there.
Helldivers 2, but or like, hey, I still have Titanfall 2 installed on my computer.
Oh sure.
And like that is a game that just
as everyone should, Jan.
Yes. Every computer should have Titanfall 2
Just
installed.
come with it.
I did look up in the how to play section on the thing that we were like, what is all this text? I found a reference to backups. Did you guys look at the like customized crew and crew builder? Do you see that option in the menus?
No.
There's an option for a crew builder, and this seems to be like you get variations on the characters, so you could build your own crew that might include like doubles of the same character. So you know that mode we played where it's like you could only pick that character once.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can then like if that first one gets wiped out, you could pick them again, and as you increase
so
your
they're-
reputation of your crew, I think as a player, you get more backup slots, so you can have even more characters to select from.
Oh, so they're
potentially.
blanks basically.
I think so, yes, and I think
That's
it's
kind of
probably
cool.
not functioning in the beta the way it's going to in the final game when all of the modes are unlocked. But I don't know. It's
Interesting.
weird. I think what's happening is there's going to be a lot of other stuff like that ways that people engage with this game that we did not engage with it. I personally am coming out of this beta, the little bit that we've played of it, not necessarily curious to like go through that experience with the game to like find out all the things it wants to offer me. Some people probably will find something here because I don't think it's a bad game. It's just kind of turning me off in some fundamental ways.
Yeah, it feels. I see the polish behind it, at least graphically, but it just feels a little soulless.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, to me, it feels like I'm very willing to try a lot of free-to-play games that come out just in passing because I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, because this is easy for me to get my friends into. Maybe we'll hit something that we'll end up playing for years to come, just like here and there. So when I played this, it unfortunately does feel like one of those yet another free-to-play game where
Yeah, but $40.
exactly, and that's the problem. Why $40 it just feels like such a mistake to me. I don't know why they felt the need to charge. Is it just because we're PlayStation, we're gonna charge a premium? That just a game like Helldivers just feels so much more justified to me. Even if you look at what you're actually doing in that game, and sure there is a lot of the same stuff, you kind of look at it and you can say like, okay, this comes from a place of AAA design, even if it's not of that scale necessarily. Maybe it is more AA adjacent than what we think of from PlayStation. You know, your God of Wars and whatnot that are like insane big budget games. Last of Us is and everything like that. So, yeah, I don't know. There's just a huge disconnect there for me.
Yep.
I can't get over how slow the tank was.
Yeah, the tanks were
Tanks
so
are like,
slow.
supposed to be slow.
But
Yeah.
a lot.
But like, they shouldn't get to fights last.
Yeah, that feels really bad. Unless you're
Yeah.
playing the dude who specifically has a charge, you can get out in front.
But like, this is a hero shooter. This is a team shooter, and Grub, I think you said it perfectly. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of synergy happening, right? Like,
But they're just not. I don't feel encouraged to synergize.
Well, they're
I
like-
think there's probably stuff there. I think the developers and designers almost certainly came up with plenty of synergies that they thought of, but they aren't occurring naturally in the middle of gameplay.
Yeah.
Like in the way that like you kind of stumble into them on Overwatch, and they're like, wait, we should
Yeah,
let's try to
Farah-
do that next time.
Like pharmacy, not anymore because the whatever, we don't need to talk
His
about it. But
balancing
like,
is bad.
right? But like when you looked at Farah and Mercy, even if you weren't reading up on anything, you looked at Farah, who was in the sky, and then you looked at Mercy, who has an ability where she can press a button to go to anybody at any time, and you say, oh, I think I can fly in the air forever as long as Farah is in the air if
Right.
I'm Mercy. And then you try it and it works, and then that's how you build that kind of
yeah,
that interplay, because none of the, and I think Sean, you mentioned this at the beginning, you can't look at any of these characters other than the trash can and be like, I know what this person
Yeah.
does.
Well, but
It's a
you-
problem
there's
when you're
no
trying to pick a character.
legibility.
Yeah.
But looking at the trash can and like seeing that like he's using a vacuum device, like as another player, like I don't know how to help you or how you
Yes.
help me specifically.
That's true too.
And like
it's like that's the tank. Should we be behind them? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. Because then they just stop shooting the tank and they start shooting all the other people, and then it just goes past the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
and the reason why I brought up synergy again, real quick, is just like Lucio helps tanks reach the front line super fast,
Right.
Like that with like his little speed boost aura ability, switching like the music to. And it didn't seem like there was any point where another character could help another character move faster And like there was one point where we found out Nikki could give us shields, but then like that quickly just went away.
Yeah.
And
I think it's the legibility really is the thing. The legibility at the character select screen, sure, but even like in the matches, and again, going back to some of these other free-to-play games, you will, or these other shooters, you'll see a character do something against you, and then you'll be like, oh, I fully understand how Tracer works now.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
I did see the Tracer character here. It took me multiple times to be like, oh, okay, they're throwing a device down, so it's kind of like Symmetra and Tracer, and then they're gonna go back to that, and it just looked janky and weird. And I did. My first thought wasn't, oh, here's how I use that. I'm like, wait, I still don't. Wait, what's happening?
Yeah, we had a fight where we were like, okay, let's all actually move in and try to use our abilities at the same time. We had a fight where we started the fight, and then everyone's abilities went off, and then we thought that we did well in the fight, but then
I got 2
like
kills in there.
all of you got 2 kills, but then the particle effects went away, and then we were like, did we do anything?
Yeah,
Did anything happen? Like I don't know if anything came out of all of the particle effects going off.
when is this supposed to come out?
Like August.
Yeah, it's soon.
I think what it does feel like is it's going to be maybe a rough first couple of months, and it's going to need that public feedback period. I kind of wish it was getting like an early access or something.
Yeah.
And maybe they have big feedback from this beta and they fix a lot of stuff, but that is a short turnaround.
You helped me remember something that I was trying to get out there. I know I rambled there for a second, but the point I was trying to get at is player expectation. Like when a person plays a hero shooter like this, they have certain expectations of how things are done. They have certain expectations of what you do in the game, what abilities do, what inputs do, so on and so forth. And so much this game does feel like they are afraid of being the same as something else, and so they try something different just for the sake of being different. And that comes down to the character design, the structure of some of the modes, just the way that abilities and characters work in general. Feels like, oh, we need to distance ourselves from this archetype, so let's do it in this way, and it's often a way that doesn't feel as good. And that comes back to something that I've been saying a lot for a lot of different games recently. If a developer has solved the system, just use that system. If a developer has figured out something that players like, just do what players like. Don't try to go out of your way to be different, because it's a high risk and often low reward chance. When they could have just made a fun take on Overwatch, especially in a time when people don't feel good about Overwatch. If they had just come in, and this game could have just been, hey, remember what Overwatch used to be? Yeah, we're just doing that because we know there's a hole for that in gaming right now. We're just putting that out there. And the fact that they're not is, I think, a real misstep, especially if they are charging a premium for it.
Yeah, you don't have ultimates, right? Yeah, it's weird.
Nope. Yeah.
No ultimates, no just class delineation as well of like, yo, these people heal.
Right.
Yeah, even just on the character select screen, just tell me these people are offense, these people are support, these people are healers. That's all you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Folks,
So we loved it.
there were moments where I was having fun, but
Yes.
There were moments, right?
I run into that issue of, am I having fun with this game because it is legitimately fun, or am I having fun because I'm playing with people that I know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
If I weren't playing with you all, or if I weren't playing with you know, the Monday night Call of Duty homies, like, I think I just would not be having a good time with this game. Like I did when I tried a couple of matches off stream. I was like, this just feels bad.
The other part that also feels bad is I feel like we've gotten to a place in shooters in general where pinging is very important. Being able to message your teammates is essential, and it was just very difficult to try and find how to do that with any of y'all. And I know that we're speaking like over chat, but even then we're still bumbling as to like where an enemy is approaching or where to target.
Middle mouse button to ping on keyboard and mouse. It's the big pad on DualSense, and it's the select button on Xbox.
Select button on Xbox, which sure, Sony. All right, whatever.
I started like moving my left thumb off of the stick to start hitting it because I was like, what else was I going to do?
Yeah, no, I had to remap that right away. Which, hey, at least you can remap.
At least, but it's the principle.
It's the principle of it all. You know, you should have that figured out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance that this game does still get an audience. I just don't think this is probably not going to be like a Helldiver situation or anything close to it.
And I really do believe that PlayStation needs to figure out a way to get this in more people's hands. Make this free with PlayStation Plus, and I do not mean as a PS Plus game. I mean make it free with PlayStation Plus. The thing that console players need to buy to play this game.
Yep.
They didn't they do this with Destruction All Stars also?
Yeah, they did that with Destruction.
Like at the last minute too, right?
Yeah,
it was $60 and then it was free. $70. Yeah, and then
it became a PS
free.
Plus game during its first month. Yeah.
Maybe they'll do that, but like
that does raise the question of if they're charging $40. Do you think they have a monetization plan outside of that? Is it just
plan to sell
it's cosmetics? It's
well,
all
that's
cosmetics.
the thing, though. I didn't really see a path for that.
Probably because it's the beta.
Well, so I think that goes back to the crew builder, where it's like a part of like the choosing different characters. Apparently, these are variants of each character, and they have different passive abilities, so they'll feel different, and so you might be able to like dress them up different and have your, here's my crew that I select from, and here's this one, and they have this ability, and they're dressed like this. I think they want to emphasize the cosmetics in that way. Whether or not that works, I mean, God, I have no idea.
Like, while that sounds good for the individual player, if you were just teaming up with a bunch of randoms where you're expecting like this character to behave like this, and suddenly it's like, oh, you're not in the sky, you've become a shark.
Well, but that's why I think like it's just passive ability. So I think so it can't even be that different. So I think they're like, well, it's not going to be that different. It's going to be passive.
Change gameplay.
Apparently, the variants change passive abilities. Let me look at this purple character real quick.
Well, what I meant was not like, do you think they'll have a battle pass? Obviously they will. What I meant was, these characters don't seem appealing enough to me that I would want to buy their Halloween skin or that I would want to buy their
I feel that way
Christmas
about
skin.
like all kinds of stuff, and all kinds of stuff still sells. So I mean, I feel like there's no accounting for taste.
Well, like you can slap a holiday skin on like a beloved character like Tracer and people will eat it up. I don't see myself buying alternate trash can or like
well, if it was the trash can from Disneyland
or
like the robot one, then maybe
make it like a washing machine or something. But at that point I feel like that also, I don't know, the going with a Guardians of the Galaxy adjacent art style I feel like also makes that hard because you can only get so silly with it is the problem. I don't know.
Just as an aside, I tried to open the game again so I could look at some of these skins, and I think the game uninstalled itself because I did not uninstall it.
Ending things this weekend. Yep.
But I opened the game and now it's not here anymore. So
okay.
Cool. All right.
Well, Concord just knew better. Now I'm looking at these two different characters or two different versions, and they have the same passive ability. Which, by the way, passive ability on this Linux guy, if you empty your weapon quickly and then switch the other weapon, while the other weapon's in your pocket, it'll reload. That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Wish I would have known that.
Sure. Yeah.
I will probably play this a few more times over the weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about it again on the Bombcast next week. So we'll see. We'll see if there's any different feelings then.
I'm still interested to see what the completed product will look like. Maybe different game modes will wind up clicking better. I don't know. This still isn't what I was searching for in that like quick, fast-paced shooter that I occasionally crave. That is like a little bit shorter than a game of Fortnite or whatever.
I think the pacing on that. I think that worked. Like the matches aren't too long.
Yeah, the matches weren't too long.
Never more than 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't Star Wars Hunters where it's never more than like 5 minutes, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that they have a base here that they can build on. I hope they do. I hope, like, this probably won't happen, but I frankly wish it would get pushed out if they take a lot of feedback from this beta and can quickly identify, oh, this is what we need to change. We can do this. Okay, we'll make movement feel better in this way. If they can figure all that stuff out, I think they have something here. And I know as negative as I've been, I don't want the game to fail or anything, but it's just a question of why?
Yeah, what's it for?
Yeah, who is this for? Why are you putting this out? It almost kind of feels like, oh, PlayStation players need a multiplayer shooter. And it's like, well, guess what? They do have Overwatch. They do have Call of Duty. They have all these games that are on other platforms as well, but like they're just going to go to those. So you need to incentivize me to play your game.
It feels very weird to like have this character shooter and then, assume the player has all this familiarity with like brand new characters that we've never heard of. Like, why not try and adapt an existing available Sony IP? You know, like throw in a
That's
Ratchet,
good point.
like throw in a Ratchet and Clank, right?
Yeah.
And then like there, it's easily even if everyone is Lombaxes or whatever, the weapons and the weapon design could be different enough where it's like, oh, he's got the vacuum.
I mean, PlayStation honestly has enough characters who shoot guns that they could have just made this a PlayStation All-Stars type of thing.
That Nathan Drake doesn't have his shirt tucked in. He's a healer.
That's how you know.
I did just see someone tweet, though. Did you guys see that Joe Biden called Concord Guardians of the Galaxy?
Wow.
That's
Oh
rough.
my God.
He'll never be president.
Oh.
Spider-Man 2 still good, though.
Yeah?
That game rules,
that game-
doesn't
You
it?
can.
Man?
I forgot that you can fly in this one.
Yeah.
They just let you fly.
They made a Superman game, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, those were our early impressions on the Concord beta.
And you know what? If you like it, I'm happy for you. If you haven't played it, I'm happy for you. I wish I liked it more, but it's not one of those things where I don't get it. I get it. Just for me, it felt sluggish and bad, but we'll see.
Like,
all
if you've
preference.
never, if this is your first hero shooter because you've been too intimidated to check out Overwatch, Valorant, whatever else have you, then by all means, I hope this is your jam. I'm interested to see how the developers are going to adapt based off of feedback from this beta. And then when, because it's a weird playing field right now for this type of game, right?
Yeah. It feels like there's an opportunity for a game like this right now. Yeah.
There's space.
So I'm curious as to how they will play with that, and then when Marvel Rivals eventually drops, because I think that beta is coming in the near future.
Yeah, because that game also is coming out this year, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that one sticks the landing too, or if it will be another situation like this of, well, we've seen this. What are you really doing for me?
Right. And I who knows if like the Marvel juice still has enough to it, and I know people are experiencing superhero fatigue. But like, we'll see. We'll see in a couple bits. Yeah. And folks, that about does it for Bombcast Revengeance. It's a little shorty today. We're just talking about Concord. Regular programming as per usual next week.
That's right.
I won't be here. Jeff Backlar won't be here. But the team is going to hold the fort down.
Bring me back something that has Pikmin on it.
Pikmin?
Pikmin.
Okay. What else does everyone else want? I don't know how I'm going to get these gifts.
I want a real Pikmin.
Miyamoto has them in a lab. You got to break them free.
I want a real Pikmin.
Okay. Grub Pikmin. Nikki, real Pikmin.
Yes.
Sean, while I'm asking.
Real fake Pikmin.
I hate that if I had a
that's
real
huge.
Pikmin.
If you get a real Pikmin, well, would you hate it because
I don't know if I would hate it.
Well, here's the thing. If you have a real Pikmin and it dies, you don't feel anything when a video game Pikmin dies. But if you only have one, if you only have one Pikmin and it dies and you get to see the little soul come out, then it's like, oh, well, that was the last. But yes,
This would be a sick Instagram picture.
Yes, absolutely. But it's the only one you get. How long do they live? Naturally.
My game, not very long.
Well, well then, okay. Do Pikmin have a shared consciousness?
No.
Well, they all know what I'm doing when I press the analog stick and say go in that direction. So
It's the antennas, right? You know, like
I think maybe per color they have a shared
called a pistol and a stamen.
Okay, so they like protect the hive and stuff.
Yeah, so the red ones all
Found
think
a
the same.
burrito.
The yellow ones all think that. What?
dude.
What?
Where did you get
Where
that
in
from?
your crotch?
Anyway,
Hey. Ooh.
Is it a burrito in your pocket or is your dick hard?
Oh, I love Concord so much. I got a burrito in my pocket about it.
oh god, I forgot to. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing Zenless Zone Zero. This is my promise.
Yeah.
Zenless Zone Zero. I'm not
Good
gonna
game.
pull anything. I'm gonna keep stacking that up
Wow.
when I come back.
Pull stream.
Yes, Jen. Like, look, I didn't want to cut you off for the sake of content, but that's the first mistake in Gotcha. You save up until your premier waifu appears in the roles. Come on now.
That's all I want. That's all I want, Sean. I keep
I know
seeing
you do.
pictures of this like maid shark, and I'm like, damn, what am I into now? I know the humans
Shark.
grow and evolve, but like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Folks, that about does it for Bombcast Revengeance. If someone is in a Bossa Nova band, hit me up, please. Yeah. I'm going to miss y'all. because
I'm gonna miss
that's
you
what,
too, Jan. You travel safe.
Enjoy.
Get on the YouTube Music or Apple Music, whatever you use, and download a Bossa Nova video game playlist right now, so you have it on the plane.
So you have it.
Ooh,
Lots
ooh,
of good video game Bossa Nova music.
Ooh, I'm only gonna take my analog pocket. Give me recommendations to play on a 10, 13-hour flight.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Not right
Any
now,
RPG.
but in the near coming future.
Right
I don't want to
now?
read a book. No,
You
not
can
right
read
now.
They have books on the Game Boy.
Yeah, the Bible.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll go, folks. I'm gonna go download the Bible after this. I've been Jan.
You
They've
don't
been
already have the
Vicky.
Bible? You're such a bad Catholic.
Part-time, baby. He's been Grub. He's been Turbo Sean, and you have been beautiful. Thank you for another beautiful week here at giantbomb.com. If you missed anything from earlier this week, go check it out. It's all great stuff. Blight Club probably returning Wednesday. Probably. I want to say.
Yeah.
And a bunch of fun stuff planned. Sean is going to go out on assignment soon. That's going to be fun. That's going to be great. Fight Sean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dare you?
For
You'll probably
shoot
beat
and
me.
for work, I don't know. Like,
Literally shooting for work.
there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
We'll see you then. I love you. Take care. Bossa Nova music.
Pocket burrito.
Everyone, go get that Squidward. Fade in the black.